Welcome to the complete guide to Xinyan in Genshin Impact. Xinyan is a brand new 4-star pyro character. If you follow the details to utilize her in the vast amounts of ways that you can and take these details to heart, you'll be rocking your way to center stage in no time at all. Xinyan's first skill here is Sweeping Fervor, the backbone of her kit. Her elemental skill will apply a shield based on the amount of enemies hit and the amount of defense Xinyan has. If you hit the highest tier of the shield, it will also intermittently pulse for pyro damage, which can be very important if you're utilizing her in an elemental based team based on either melt or vaporize. Her first ascension, the show goes on, even without an audience, will lower the requirements you need to hit in order to hit the highest tier shield. Baseline, this is 3 total enemies hit. This time, you only need to hit 2 or more enemies to get the highest tier version of that shield and get that very important pyro AoE damage proc. Her second ascension, and now that's rock and roll, will increase the support utility that Xinyan has for either herself or in a physical damage superconduct oriented team, as the character who is currently shielded by Sweeping Fervor will have a 15% increased physical damage buff. Throw this on a physical damage carry such as a Razor or even a superconduct crescent pike wielding Xiangling or Zhongli and let your characters go to town. Xinyan's elemental burst is Rift Revolution, and this elemental burst lets her steal the stage and provide not only solid utility to your party, but high physical burst damage. The large portion of the damage from her elemental burst Rift Revolution is physical damage, and it is then supplemented with small AoE pyro damage to nearby foes. Using Rift Revolution in the proper team composition will allow you to utilize Xinyan as a burst damage dealer that is supporting and augmenting your team both defensively as well as offensively with her Sweeping Further shield buff. Xinyan has 2 highly notable constellations. The first one is Wildfire the Rhythm at Constellation 4. This causes Sweeping Further's damage when activated to decrease the opponent's physical resistance by 15% for 12 seconds. This is a smaller Superconduct style debuff, whereas Superconduct is 50%. Sweeping Further's Wildfire the Rhythm debuff is 15%. Her most important constellation, in a constellation that changes how you can utilize this character, is Impromptu Opening, her Constellation 2. This causes Rift Revolution, her elemental burst, her high damage skill, to always and is guaranteed to become a 100% critical hit. Also, when using your elemental burst, you will be guaranteed a level 3 shield when cast. So this is a double wombo combo constellation, allowing you to build her for insanely high elemental burst damage and giving you a second shield to throw on your teammates to further augment both their survivability as well as their damage. When it comes to equipping your Xinyan, you have to ask yourself, what's one of 2 ways are you going to be running her? Are you running her full support, Constellation 0, or you could be running her burst damage oriented Constellation 2 or higher? If you're running C0, then you're going to be focusing on almost entirely defense percent and energy recharge to get the biggest shields that you can on your Xinyan, as well as gain access to her elemental burst to supplement that extra pyro damage. If you're running her Constellation 2, you are looking for attack percent, critical hit damage, as well as energy recharge. Looking at the weapon selection for Xinyan, any of the 5-star weapons, the Unforged, Wolf's Gravestone, or Skyward Pride, are fantastic on her, as you would guess at a glance here. Unforged and Wolf's Gravestone give you the highest damage potential in a single hit from her elemental burst, while the Skyward Pride gives you the wonderful energy recharge for a more supportive oriented build, or a build that just wants to use her elemental burst that bit quicker. No 5-star weapons, no problem. Run on over to the blacksmith, and he has 2 solid weapons to sate your appetite between which of the 2 builds that you are preferring. If you're going for a full support build, the White Blind gives you everything that you need. Defense percent main stat, as well as a stacking attack, and most importantly, defense buff on your Xinyan every time she strikes an enemy. Hit the enemy a couple of times with the White Blind, and then pop your elemental skill to get the largest shield possible in a short period of time. Whereas the prototype Animus, for you physical damage dealers out there, is a fantastic choice, as it does give you attack percent and a nice damage dealing proc that can activate with a quick normal attack before you pop your elemental skill and then your elemental burst. Other 4-star fantastic options are the Sacrificial Greatsword and the Favonius Greatsword, both fantastic energy recharge claymores that you can use at your leisure to get quicker applications of your Elemental Burst. You could even use these in damage dealing C2 or higher Xinyan builds, as you won't hit quite as high per Elemental Burst, but you will be getting your Elemental Burst much more often. Another notable weapon here is the Black Cliff Slasher that you have to spend Star Glitter to get. However, the Black Cliff Slasher has critical hit damage as its secondary stat, allowing you to get a plethora of extra damage from a guaranteed critical hit Elemental Burst on Xinyan. Most notably for a 3-star weapon, if you don't have any of the weapons mentioned in this video, the Skyrider Greatsword is right up your alley, providing you extra physical damage as well as a stacking attack percent proc that you can stack up before you pop that Elemental Burst in a Constellation 2 or higher Xinyan build. You don't have any of these options, you're trying to make Xinyan your go-to rockstar guitar girl physical damage carry, the Serpent Spine is right up your alley. You are going to be needing to build critical hit rate if she's going to be your main carry, someone who's out there normal attacking and charged attacking for a large amount of time, and the Serpent Spine's additional benefit of a stacking damage buff, as long as you don't take damage, plays extremely nice with her design. And while it's not her most efficient or effective role if you are using her as your main carry, the Gladiator's Nostalgia set is going to be an easy access right up your alleyway to increase her damage on her normal attack, as well as giving her some attack percent. For those of you running your Xinyan full support, look no farther than the Circlet Retracing Bolide set. The 2-piece of this set is going to increase your shield strength by 35%, and if you want to get a little bit of extra damage, the 4-set bonus here is going to give you 40% both normal and charged attack damage for your Xinyan. If your Xinyan is a C2 plus Elemental Burst damage dealing extraordinaire, there is no doubt about it. The sets that you're going to be going with is a combination of the Noblesse Oblige and the Bloodstained Chivalry sets. You're going for 2 sets of 2 pieces here, as the Noblesse Oblige 2-piece gives you 20% Elemental Burst damage, and the Bloodstained Chivalry set is going to give you 25% physical damage. You're going to stack these up for a grand total of a 45% multiplier increase. Nothing is even going to come close to this 2-piece combination. When it comes to artifact stats, this is once again going to be dependent on what way you are using your Xinyan. If you are going for the full support build, both in main and secondary stats, the only 2 stats that you care about is energy recharge and defense percent for quicker elemental bursts, as well as a higher damage reduction and higher HP threshold on the shield that Xinyan provides. The longer the shield lasts, the more of that buff is going to be on and active to your carry. When running the Elemental Burst damage dealing Xinyan, you are looking for critical hit damage on your Circlet, you are looking for physical damage on your Goblet, attack percent on your Sands, and for substats, attack percent, critical hit damage, as well as energy recharge. Remember, you do not need critical hit chance in this build whatsoever if you are C2 or higher, because her Elemental Burst is guaranteed to critically hit whenever it is that you use it. As the 2 most obvious roles for Xinyan to be used in your team is either a full-on support or the C2 burst damage dealing support. Remember, you can feel free to leave your normal attack talent at level 1, as she is not there to carry your team. Make sure you level up Rift Revolution if you are there to use her Elemental Burst for the highest damage possible, as it does scale a tremendous amount per level put into it, and the shield on your Elemental skill, Sweeping Fervor, also scales up with talent selection as well. Xinyan is so good because she is so flexible, from supporting your hyper carries such as Razor in a superconduct physical damage dealing team, to providing the Pyro element for other damage dealers such as Child in area of effect situations to proc his Vaporize Hydro damage on over and over again. There are plenty of possibilities and team compositions for Xinyan to use, whether physical or an elementally driven team with Cryo or Hydro carry characters based on the Vaporize or Melt elemental reactions. Let us know the best ways that you're using your Xinyan down below, what you intend to gear her with, and how much you enjoyed the guide. If you want to see more content like this for Genshin Impact, make sure you like this video and subscribe for more. Till then, we'll see you in the next one.